So we can all use a bit of help when it comes to prompting better. And in the past, I have created very full-length tutorial videos on prompt engineering, which you can check in the annotations above. But since it's been some time since I've created those videos, I figure I might as well give an updated list on 12 prompt hacks or tags that you can add to your prompts. Now, if you're excited for this video, give it a like and also subscribe to this channel if you want more productivity and creativity hacks using AI moving forward. So let's just jump straight into it. What I'm going to do is explain them into 4 key categories. And so I've laid them out as the explanations, personification, clarification, and justification. So explanation are the prompt tags that will help your LLM explain things in a much more concise way. So the very first one we have is something called Eli 5. Now, Eli 5 stands for Explain It Like I'm 5, and it's a popular internet lingo that's used across the internet. It is a term that you use when you want somebody to explain things in a much more concise, simple way that a 5-year-old could understand. Now, of course, you don't need to always attach Eli 5. This is just what the internet lingo is. You can attach Eli 10, Eli 15, and so on. But sharing an example of this, I had these prompts already set up just to save time. And so here I put a / Eli 5, and then I wrote down explain what inflation means for pocket money, use a candy analogy, max 120 words. So I got this rough prompt, and if I press enter, now you'll see here, it's explaining it as if the person is 5. So imagine last week you could buy 5 candies with your pocket money, but this week with the same amount, you can only buy 4. That's inflation. And so it's trying to do its best to explain things in a very simple manner that anyone can understand. And this is really great for when you're trying to study or learn a specific subject. For example, something like quantum mechanics. So the next is TLDR. So this is another internet lingo that stands for too long, didn't read. And it's often used to summarize long content into short, clear highlights or takeaways so you can get the overview in one quick view. So if you see on the prompt here, I've uploaded this global EVA outlook. And this is a PDF file. It is a multi-page. You see it's over 100 pages, so a very intricate document. And what I'll do is I'll attach the tag TLDR and then summarize this EV market analysis in 5 bullet points. And I've given it specifics on what I want from it. Give me the gist, give me some stats, give me a trend, risk, action, and do it in less than 300 words. Now you can adjust this to be less than 500 words, or you don't even have to put this limit. So if I press enter, of course, it's not going to give me all of the details of this PDF, but it's going to do its best to try to give me a TLDR of each. So here, the TLDR, it's breaking down the things in a very concise manner for each specific category. And voila, that's about it. Perhaps I can even go further. And if I want to just delete this and I say within 200 words and I press enter again, you'll notice it'll give me a shorter analysis, taking just a few of the key points within this document and giving me the quick TLDR. Now, next on the list is checklist. So this converts the information that you have into an actionable list item. So an example of this is I've tagged it checklist, and then I wrote down steps to launch a YouTube channel, and then add owner, ETA, DOD for each step. I don't even have to add this part, and I just say steps to launching a YouTube channel. So now it'll give me as if it's a big checklist and give me those specific categories of strategy and planning, branding and setup, content production, and so on. So this is a nice way to, if you're going to start any project, whether you're going to write a new book or you're going to start a new channel or you want to create an app, this is a great way to get an overview of what kind of things you need to do. You can copy this over into a document and start moving forward. Next is the category of personifications. So the first here is act as. So I talked about this in other videos, but act as is a great way to give a persona or role to your LLM so that it can adopt a specific perspective when giving you an output. So an example of this would be I wrote down act as a SaaS hiring manager and then improve my CV summary for a PM role. So I made a dummy CV and then I've uploaded that over. So it's just a random CV. And if I were to press enter, since I put this act as tag, it will now take on the persona of a hiring manager specifically for a SaaS company and then do the things that I've actually asked it to do. So Now it's giving me a revised thing where some missing keywords to strengthen the relevance, roadmap and user research, and it's also given me the summary. And then we have jargon. So jargon it incorporates the response with domain-specific language to make sure that you're speaking the speak of whatever type of documentation or summarization that you're doing. So let's say you're coordinating with lawyers, but you're not a lawyer yourself. Perhaps you can create a document that includes the jargon that lawyers would use so that when you're sending that document to them, they can digest it faster and easier. So an example of this is I would tag /jargon and I would say explain API rate limits in REST services. And then at the end, I do say add a 2-line plain English section at the end. So this could help myself, for someone that might not be a developer, to better understand what's going on here. So if I were to press enter, now it's going to explain what API rate limits in REST services are. And then in plain English, it's going to tell me what it is, but then it'll give a technical explanation. Then next is audience. Audience customizes your explanation for a given target group. So this is, as you can see, there's a pattern here when it comes to prompt tags related to personification. An example here would be I would put the tag audience and I would tell what the audience is, startup founders. Now, the more specific you get with this, the better the output. But just for an example here, I put out startup founders and then I wrote down explain convertible notes at grade 8 level with the free founder relevant examples. So I would press enter and keep in mind the audience that it's going to be targeting are startup founders. So here it's like convertible notes. It's going to give me the explanation. It gives me a grade 8 explanation. So this is a type of Eli 5. And then it also gives you key terms and 3 founder relevant examples. So delay evaluation and so on. So this is a great way whenever you're creating a document and you want to target it towards a specific audience, whether you put marketers or consumers in the age of 18 to 24, and the AI will change the way that it writes, target it at that specific audience. And this is really great for marketers and people in business that want to create documentation or copy that is fit for their audience. Next is the clarity category. So the first one here is SWOT. So anyone who's done business knows the SWOT analysis, where you look at strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. Well, you can actually tell your LLM to build out a SWOT for any sort of analysis that you're doing. And so looking at this example here, I tagged it SWOT, and then I talked about any topic such as digital nomad co-working in Bali. If I press enter, now it's going to do a SWOT analysis on the topic of digital nomads co-working in Bali. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? So here it's going to give me a full detail of what all the strengths are, and then all the details of what the weaknesses are, and then opportunities and threats and risks. So this is a really great way whenever you're thinking of starting a business or thinking of starting a new app of some sort or any sort of YouTube channel. Doing SWOT analysis helps you better understand how the market is and whether or not your business idea has more strengths than weaknesses. Then the next is format as. So format as structures your response into a table or a list or a chart or any sort of format that you want to actually see. So an example here would be format as, and then I put down markdown table, and then I can say right here, that put a period, and I say compare ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and bam, you already see it's created a table comparing ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude in different ways. And if in fact, what I could do here is I could copy this over, go back to my SWOT analysis, and considering that this came out in a full-on document, what I could do, format as markdown table, the results, the SWOT analysis above. So because I added that format as tag, what it's going to do is going to put the results that I got here and it's going to format that into a nice table. And then the next one is multi-perspective. So this is a great way to tag your prompt so that you can get different perspectives in whatever analysis that you're doing. So here I write down the tag multi-perspective and then I give the topic is remote here to stay, stakeholders. I want it to be execs, employees, landlords, city planners. Now it's going to give some perspective in the point of view of execs, employees, landlords, and city planners, whether remote work is here to stay. So how would executives think about this? How would employees think about this? How would landlords think about this? And so on. And so this is a great way to get any topic that you're interested in. And if you would like to think about it, instead of just thinking about it from one angle, you put the multi-perspective tag to see it from multiple different angles. And then the next is a category justification. So this is all about reasoning, helping the AI reason better. And so the very first point here is reflective mode. So this tag helps instruct the LLM to critique its own thinking response and is making it to think twice. An example here would be I tag it reflective mode, and then I've uploaded a dummy cover letter, and then I've asked it to review my cover letter for clarity, impact, and specificity, list weaknesses, and then rewrite. So you see here, it's giving me results. And because I've added this reflective mode here, it's actually forced it to think a little bit more clearly and deeply before giving you this result. Then the next is bias check or systematic bias check. And this is scanning any document to see if it leans towards one side or the other. And so an example here is I've uploaded an article I found on the 5 years into remote work boom. So this is an article that I found. And what I've done is then I've added the systematic bias check. And then on this op-ed about remote work, flag biases. And if I press enter, it's going to be reading through the document, and then it's going to try to find any biases that the author may have written about this specific subject. And so now you see here the bias, and it's detected some here. And then finally, we have the 12th tag, which is show your steps. And so what this does is it forces LLM to show its work in reasoning, because you want to always question AI and what kind of output it's giving, not just take it for value. So the example here is I wrote down show your steps, and I've given a prompt like I'm deciding on a master's now versus just doing 2 years of work. Consider the different costs, career impact, and so on. So you see, here's a crypt decision take, assumptions I use. And so it's going to explain the assumptions, the steps I followed, how it went about deciding this output and recommendation. So that's about it. Those are the 12 prompt tags that you can add to your prompts moving forward. Hopefully that was helpful. And if you like that video, give this video a like and subscribe to this channel if you want to continue playing yourself into AI for better productivity and creativity.